Chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she had borne no children to Jacob, she became jealous of her sister and began to say to Jacob,
"Give me children, or else I will die."
At this Jacob's anger flared up against Rachel, and he said,
Am I in the place of God, who has prevented you from having children?
So she said,
"Here is my slave girl Bilhah. Have relations with her, in order that she may bear children for me, and that through her I too may have children."
With that, she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife, and Jacob had relations with her. Bilhah became pregnant, and in time bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said,
God has acted as my judge, and has also listened to my voice, so that he gave me a son.
That is why she named him Dan. Bilhah, Rachel's servant, became pregnant once more, and in time bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said,
With strenuous wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister. I have also come off the winner.
So she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. And Leah's servant Zilpah bore a son to Jacob. Then Leah said,
With good fortune.
So she named him Gad. After that, Zilpah, Leah's servant, bore a second son to Jacob. Then Leah said,
With my happiness, for the daughters will certainly pronounce me happy.
So she named him Asher. Now Reuben was walking in the days of the wheat harvest, and he found mandrakes in the field. So he brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah,
Give me, please, some of your son's mandrakes.
At this she said to her,
Is it a small matter that you took my husband? Would you now take my son's mandrakes also?
So Rachel said,
Very well. He will lie down with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes.
When Jacob was coming from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said,
It is with me you are going to have relations, because I have hired you outright with my son's mandrakes.
So he lay down with her that night. And God heard and answered Leah, and she became pregnant, and in time bore to Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said,
God has given me my wages, because I have given my servant to my husband.
So she named him Issachar. And Leah became pregnant once more, and in time bore a sixth son to Jacob. Then Leah said,
God has endowed me, yes, me, with a good endowment. At last, my husband will tolerate me, for I have borne him 6 sons.
So she named him Zebulun. Afterward she bore a daughter, and named her Dinah. Finally, God remembered Rachel, and God heard and answered her by enabling her to become pregnant. And she became pregnant, and gave birth to a son. Then she said,
God has taken away my reproach.
So she named him Joseph, saying,
Jehovah is adding another son to me.
After Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob immediately said to Laban,
Send me away, so that I may go to my place and to my land. Give over my wives and my children, for whom I have served with you, that I may go. For you well know how I have served you.
Then Laban said to him,
If I have found favor in your eyes, I have understood by the omens that Jehovah is blessing me because of you.
And he added,
Stipulate your wages to me, and I will give them.
So Jacob said to him,
You know how I have served you, and how your herd has fared with me. You had little before my coming, but your herd has increased and multiplied, and Jehovah has blessed you since I arrived. So when will I do something for my own house?
Then he said,
What should I give you?
and Jacob said,
You will give me nothing whatsoever. If you will do this one thing for me, I will resume shepherding your flock and guarding it. I will pass through your whole flock today. You set aside from there every sheep speckled and with color patches, and every dark brown sheep among the young rams, and any color patched and speckled one among the she-goats. From now on, these must become my wages. And my righteousness must speak for me on a future day, when you come to look over my wages. Every one that is not speckled and color patched among the she-goats, and dark brown among the young rams, will be considered stolen if it is with me.
To this Laban said,
That is fine. Let it be according to your word.
Then on that day he set aside the he-goats striped and color-patched, and all the she-goats speckled and color-patched, every one in which there was any white, and every one dark brown among the young rams, and gave them into the care of his sons. After that he set a distance of 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob was shepherding the flocks of Laban that remained over. Jacob then took freshly cut staffs of the storax, almond, and plane trees, and he peeled white spots in them by exposing the white wood of the staffs. Then he placed the staffs that he had peeled in front of the flock, in the gutters, in the drinking troughs, where the flocks would come to drink, that they might get into heat in front of them when they came to drink. So the flocks would get into heat in front of the staffs, and the flocks would produce striped, speckled, and color-patched offspring. Then Jacob separated the young rams and turned the flocks to face the striped ones and all the dark brown ones among the flocks of Laban. Then he separated his own flocks and did not mix them with Laban's flocks. And whenever the robust animals would get into heat, Jacob would place the staffs in the gutters before the eyes of the flocks, that they might get into heat by the staffs. But when the animals were weak, he would not place the staffs there. So the weak ones always came to be Laban's, but the robust ones became Jacob's. And the man grew very prosperous, and he acquired great flocks, and male and female servants, and camels, and donkeys.